Before a single bomb was dropped, a World War II airman faced a ritual most people have never heard of. He would pull on an undershirt, not cotton, not wool, but silk, and sewn into its fabric was a map. Not just any map, a precise, color-coded, intelligence-grade chart of enemy territory, printed on material so fine it folded to the size of a matchbook and survived a river crossing. This was the Silk Escape Map, one of the most remarkable intersections of espionage, cartography, and survival fieldcraft the war produced. Welcome to Fieldcraft Chronicles. Tonight we're going behind the cockpit and into the quiet genius of those who planned for the worst. By 1942, Allied bombing campaigns were sending hundreds of aircraft deep into enemy territory every week. If a pilot survived the bailout and landed alive in occupied France, he faced a second battle, evading capture alone, with no radio, no unit, and no idea where he was. Paper maps were useless, pulped by rain, torn at the creases, and fatally loud. That sharp, papery crinkle could carry 20 meters on a quiet night, alerting a patrol to a man trying desperately to be invisible. For the airmen moving through enemy countryside in the dark, paper was almost worse than nothing. The answer came from MI9, Britain's escape and evasion branch, and specifically from Christopher Clayton Hutton, an eccentric officer who treated escape as a puzzle requiring unconventional materials. Hutton turned to silk from damaged parachute production, already trusted with men's lives, weightless enough to hide inside a garment, silent when unfolded in darkness, and nearly impervious to water. It held printed ink with extraordinary precision. In the brutal logic of wartime supply chains, it was also a material that could be sourced without drawing down critical reserves. Working with the Bartholomew mapping firm, MI9 produced double-sided silk maps at scale suited for travel on foot. A single panel might chart road networks, rail lines, river crossings, and town names across an area the size of the Loire Valley, color-coded in blues, browns, and reds. Legible, even folded to the size of a playing card. Sets covered Western Europe, the Balkans, Southeast Asia, and the Pacific. The intelligence baked into each map, reliable bridges, open mountain passes, rail junctions, drew on resistance networks, reconnaissance photographs, and men who had already made the journey home. MI9 knew that captured airmen would be searched thoroughly. So, maps were never simply pocketed. Instead, they were sewn into jacket linings, hidden behind lapels, tucked inside boot heels, and even pressed into collar folds. Certain uniform buttons, believe it or not, unscrewed to reveal a compass. A man stripped of his jacket, boots, and watch, which was standard prisoner procedure, could still be wearing the map against his skin. Its presence was more than just practical. It was a quiet reminder that someone had planned for this exact moment, and that a route home existed if he had the nerve to find it. Moving only at night, unable to strike a light, an evading airman would unfold his map by touch, orienting by Polaris or the glow of a distant town. River flow confirmed direction. A distant train, cross-referenced with a rail line, could place him within kilometers. Escape training taught pilots to think in terrain rather than roads. Roads were watched, stations were guarded, and the Silk Map made cross-country navigation possible precisely because it showed the land itself. Its ridges, forests, and waterways read the way a hunter reads sign. When an airman reached the French resistance or the Belgian escape lines, his map became a living document, a way to understand exactly where he stood in a chain of safe houses stretching toward neutral Spain. The Comet Line moved hundreds of servicemen from Belgium over the Pyrenees through a network of farmers, priests, and shopkeepers who risked execution for strangers. A man studying his silk map by candlelight in a hayloft could trace, kilometre by kilometre, the journey anonymous heroes were making possible. What MI9 built into that undershirt was a philosophy. The right tool, always within reach, changes the odds. For the modern bushcrafter, the lessons are direct. Waterproof your navigation, read terrain, not trails, move with the land rather than against it. The silk map also teaches something about mindset. An airman who dressed knowing his uniform, held a compass and a route home, carried readiness, not arrogance. That preparation, made before the crisis, not during it, is the beating heart of everything Fieldcraft Chronicles stands for. Original silk escape maps survive today in the Imperial War Museum, the National Museum of the USAF, and private collections worldwide. The men who carried them didn't think of themselves as survivalists. They were simply men trying to get home. But the tools they were given and the fieldcraft they were taught speak directly to a tradition that runs unbroken, to every wilderness traveller who understands that preparation is the only honest form of optimism. The silk map didn't guarantee survival, nothing does. But it gave men a fighting chance. And in the business of staying alive, a fighting chance is everything. If this episode sparks something in you, a love of history, a drive towards self-reliance, a respect for wartime ingenuity, then you're exactly who Fieldcraft Chronicles is made for. Subscribe so you never miss an episode and share this video with someone who values history, preparedness, and the timeless art of survival. Every share helps us keep digging into the forgotten fieldcraft that shaped the world. We'll see you at the next fire.